Spain, France, England, Germany, Italy. 5 of the biggest football nations in the world were reportedly prepared to reject the 2030 World Cup after Gianni Infantino pushed FIFA into one of the biggest power struggles of his presidency. The plan that triggered it is now dead. FIFA backed away after the revolt became impossible to ignore. But that retreat may have exposed something much bigger. For years, Infantino has sold expansion as growth, inclusion, and more opportunities for more countries. Critics now see a different pattern: more teams, more matches, more money, and more power concentrated around FIFA. And this time, the biggest nations in football may finally be willing to break with FIFA completely. The explosion began with a proposal potentially worth around $20 billion. FIFA wanted to reorganize the commercial rights surrounding the World Cup and other competitions through a new company, FIFA Forward Enterprise. Around 20% could then have been opened to private investment. For a governing body responsible for protecting the biggest tournament in football, that was an extraordinary move. Suddenly, the World Cup was being discussed like an asset that could be packaged, valued, and partly opened to outside capital. And FIFA needed its member associations to accept it. The sales pitch was powerful. Fresh investment could pour billions into football, and smaller federations could receive enormous new development payments. Countries without Premier League television money, billion-euro clubs, or giant commercial markets would suddenly have access to resources they could previously only dream about. That sounds almost impossible to oppose. And that is exactly why critics became suspicious. Because Infantino has used a remarkably similar argument before. Expand football, include more countries, give smaller nations their opportunity. The World Cup grew to 48 teams. The Club World Cup became dramatically larger. Infantino pushed the idea of staging a World Cup every 2 years. Discussions around even more teams have repeatedly surfaced. Each expansion can be defended as democratizing football. Each expansion also creates more games to sell, more television slots, more sponsorship inventory, more tickets, more commercial leverage, and ultimately a larger FIFA machine sitting at the center of all of it. There is no proof that Infantino secretly designed those reforms purely to accumulate money and power. But after the latest crisis, critics have every reason to ask how many times the same pattern can appear before somebody starts following the money. Then another detail made the $20 billion proposal toxic. Reports surrounding the deal linked potential investment to Thrive Capital, founded by Joshua Kushner. Joshua Kushner is the brother of Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law. That connection did not prove corruption or improper White House influence. It did guarantee one thing: the optics were explosive. FIFA was already facing criticism over its political relationships, the commercialization of its competitions, and Infantino's proximity to powerful figures. Now, a proposal involving part of FIFA's commercial business was being discussed alongside a private investment group connected through family ties to one of America's most politically famous families. For critics, the smell became unbearable. Then FIFA made another mistake. The football associations expected to approve this enormous transformation were reportedly given only a short period to consider it, while confederations complained that proper consultation had not taken place before the proposal emerged. The AFC publicly attacked the process. CONCACAF questioned the governance surrounding it. UEFA went much further. European football called an emergency meeting. All 55 UEFA member associations were represented, and the response described in reports was devastating for Infantino. Europe was prepared to boycott FIFA competitions while the plan remained active. That immediately placed Spain, France, England, Germany, and Italy on the same side of the rebellion. Think about what FIFA was suddenly staring at. Spain had just become world champions. France remained one of football's global superpowers. England supplied the richest domestic league on earth. Germany carried 4 World Cup titles. Italy carried 4 more. A 2030 World Cup stripped of those countries would still technically exist. Its credibility would be mutilated. Broadcasters would notice. Sponsors would notice. Supporters would notice. And any investor valuing FIFA's commercial future would certainly notice. The 5 countries in the title were therefore only the visible edge of something far more dangerous. Behind them stood the rest of UEFA. Before we continue, subscribe to the World Cup Whistleblower, because whenever football's most powerful men promise that billions of dollars are really about helping everybody else, somebody needs to look underneath the sales pitch. The rebellion then spread beyond Europe. CONCACAF represents 41 associations. The AFC represents 47. UEFA represents 55. Together, those 3 confederations account for 143 of FIFA's 211 member associations. That does not mean 143 countries formally voted to remove Infantino or boycott the 2030 World Cup. Their confederations did not all take identical positions, but the scale of organised opposition to the proposal was impossible to dismiss. Infantino had pushed an idea designed to transform FIFA's commercial future and managed to provoke resistance across enormous sections of world football. Then FIFA blinked. The private stake plan was withdrawn. For Infantino, killing the proposal prevented the immediate confrontation from becoming even more destructive. It also handed his enemies something valuable: proof that coordinated resistance could force FIFA backwards. That changes the power dynamic. For years, Infantino has behaved like a president capable of pushing world football into whatever future he believes is necessary. More countries, bigger competitions, new formats, bigger commercial opportunities. Critics increasingly argue that every major reform strengthens FIFA's reach, while forcing leagues, players, and federations to adapt around decisions made from the top. This time, the football world pushed back hard enough to stop him. And perhaps the most interesting question is whether Infantino accidentally discovered exactly where his support ends. What if these enormous proposals have become an unofficial test of power? Push something radical, watch who accepts it, identify who rebels, retreat when necessary, then return later with another version, another expansion, or another commercial structure. There is no evidence proving that this is Infantino's deliberate strategy. The pattern, nevertheless, creates an uncomfortable possibility, because FIFA has repeatedly tested football's tolerance for dramatic structural change. The backlash is now reaching Infantino personally. The source material describes growing discussion around his next presidential election, potential challenges, and even the possibility of an extraordinary FIFA Congress if enough member associations demanded one. For a president accustomed to enormous institutional power, that possibility matters. Only weeks earlier, the commercial proposal was being presented as the future. Then confederations revolted, the deal disappeared, and attention moved from the future of FIFA's business structure to the future of the man running FIFA itself. Infantino still has powerful defenders. Many smaller federations genuinely want more development money. FIFA can argue that Europe's wealthiest football countries already enjoy financial advantages that most of the world can never match. Opening new revenue streams could redistribute money towards associations that desperately need facilities, coaching programs, and infrastructure. That argument deserves to exist. It also leaves the most damaging question untouched. Why did a proposal supposedly designed to enrich world football trigger such extraordinary distrust among the organizations expected to approve it? And why does FIFA keep finding itself accused of expanding football while simultaneously expanding the amount of football FIFA can monetize? The private investment proposal is gone. The suspicion it created remains. Europe has now discovered that coordinated resistance works. Infantino has discovered that even his biggest plans can be killed. And 5 of the most powerful football nations on Earth have shown that there is a point where loyalty to FIFA can collide with loyalty to what they believe the World Cup should be. Perhaps this was simply a disastrous business proposal handled with breathtaking arrogance. Perhaps critics are right that something deeper has been exposed. A FIFA leadership obsessed with expansion, commercial power and control, while publicly selling every revolution as another gift to global football. Either way, the damage has already been done. Spain, France, England, Germany and Italy were reportedly prepared to challenge FIFA with the one weapon Infantino could never ignore: the World Cup itself. And after forcing FIFA to retreat once, the next confrontation could become even more brutal. Because if Infantino pushes again, those 5 giants may no longer threaten to break with FIFA. They may actually do it.